really happy to have you on. It's been
Thank you. I'm
amazing.
really happy to be on.
I've been a fan since hearing White Light, and like here at the Pit, we kind of champion artists that take this left field approach to more contemporary music, and I feel like you kind of do that while still calling back to the roots of it. So I think
Thank you.
you're like a great fit for who we are, and you kind of embody that in your music. For those that don't know, who is Loony?
I'm a singer-songwriter from Toronto, Canada.
Okay. How would you describe your sound?
I think it's like a pretty big blend, I guess, of a lot of different genres. I grew up on like a lot of soul and R&B and hip hop, and then my main sort of producers and collaborators, they grew up on like a lot of gospel and like jazz, and yeah, so it's kind of like a nice little fusion of sort of, I think, those genres, and like indie and I guess like yeah, depending on the song, maybe some genres become a little more present, but generally we just like to, keep it pretty blended and as weird as possible.
I always like think of Toronto as like the cousin of London. Like we've got quite a lot of like commonalities in terms of culture
Yes.
and music.
Yes.
And I know the city like births a lot of solid musical talent. So growing up there, what were kind of like the main, or how did it contribute to, defining your craft?
I think here, like, it feels like, I guess because the industry isn't as big, and you know what I mean, and I think that it can feel like really competitive, and people are really like hungry, and I think just people are like really determined and really driven to like, because when you hear about Toronto, you obviously think like Drake and you think The Weeknd, but the list doesn't feel like as long as other places. So I don't know. I think everyone here I think their work ethic is like pretty crazy, because we feel like we gotta like, I don't know, I feel like we gotta show ourselves to the world, and like it just feels harder, if that makes sense. It's probably not. This is just literally like the Toronto thing. But yeah, I don't know. The sound, I think, of the city has really like shifted, and I think there's been some really, really key people here, especially when it comes to R&B and when it comes to like hip hop. So
who are some of the platforms that are kind of like championing R&B and hip hop in Toronto?
I mean, there's Complex Canada, you know what I mean? There's like there's like Fader, there's Red Bull. I guess because the scene is just smaller here. I don't know about like specifically R&B. There is though just one in Toronto called R&B Radar, and they are like up on everything when it comes to R&B specifically. I think like other places take a more like everyone kind of approach, whereas like it's really, really tailored for R&B with R&B Radar.
I watched his live the other day, and he was crying. He was so passionate about R&B.
Tommy's great. He's dope. Like music is literally his life, especially R&B, and you can tell like he'll put anybody on as long as you send him like a dope R&B track. He'll show love. It's crazy. I've learned about so many cool artists through his platform.
So what's like the sound coming out of Toronto in kind of the more underground circles?
I mean, I think there's a heavy sort of soul influence here, and it's interesting because like, a lot of people think of like Drake, who like we like to think that he like popularized a lot of things that are considered to be like really modern R&B right now. But it's interesting because then there's also people, which is a very sort of like like a very sort of digital new wave sort of R&B sort of sound, and then then there's people like Daniel Caesar and like Charlotte Day Wilson and Bad Bad Not Good, who also like brought like a real like live approach sort of to their.
They're from Toronto.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, so it's like, it's interesting. I feel like it was cool because it kind of showed that like there's not just really one sort of champion sort of like sound over here, especially when it comes to the genre. So yeah, I think like it's very well rounded. There's a lot of people doing a lot of really different things. So it can be kind of hard to pin down.
Okay. So being like a fairly new face in the scene, have you faced any like challenging moments?
I mean, it's always hard to like, get funding and stuff. It's hard to definitely, being independent, that's like a thing. Like it's always like trying to figure out my budget and what I can do within that budget. And we're lucky here though in Canada. We have like there are places you can apply to get grants and stuff, but it's competitive, so doesn't mean you're gonna get one. But yeah, I think funding is like a huge thing. Yeah, that's one of the bigger ones coming to my mind right
Are
now.
you able to kind of do a lot of shows?
In Toronto, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of shows, but I guess it just feels sort of isolated in the sense where it feels like you gotta maybe go to the States to really do a show that you know, might just bring you to a higher level, I guess, career wise.
Yeah.
And Toronto, like we think, you know, we think we're like the king of Canada, so we're like, okay, like if we're already living here and we're doing shows in Toronto, we're like, okay, what's next? Even though Vancouver is dope too, Montreal is dope too. There's actually so many cool cities, but yeah, I guess it just feels a little isolated when it comes to shows. We feel
Yeah.
like we got to fly somewhere else to do a show that really kind of matters,
Right.
which is crazy. Yeah.
And as you're like, your fan base is growing and you're getting more successful, is there
Mhm.
anything that you're looking forward to in the future?
I'm really looking forward to actually, just because we're talking about live, I'm thinking about now like how good it's gonna feel when I can play like a big, nice show. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think it's gonna be like the last thing to really come back after COVID, and that's just gonna be, it'll just be dope. You know what I mean? It's like it'll probably be a really good feeling to have people like singing along and like knowing the songs you're actually about to play. Usually I'm playing a bunch of songs for people and then I'm like opening for someone else and no one's ever heard me and they're like, can the main act come on please? So it'll be nice, you know, as I grow to, you know, have people that are like specifically there for me. That would be dope.
Yeah. And I guess like the tape dropped just before we had to like go
Mhm.
into quarantine. So I guess everyone's kind of had the time to actually sit with it and let it marinate and like know the words and stuff.
Yeah, I was really excited because I had a Toronto, like a headline show um in, when was it supposed to be? It was supposed to be in May, and like we sold out the first night, and then we're like, okay, let's add a second night. So we added a second night. So we were gonna have like these two sort of shows, and now it's moved to like January. And even then, I don't even like. I hope, but
Yeah. I mean, we do events as well, and we're like, some of the venues are opening up like this month, and we're just like, nah, cannot take the risk.
yeah, it's definitely it's tough because it's like a closed space, and people are gonna get close and sweaty, and people are gonna be
Yeah.
singing. It's gonna be a lot of a lot of that.
So what does a Loony show look like?
Well, I have a great band. They've been like with me for a while now. I think there's 5 of us total, or no, 6, I guess, including me.
Yeah.
And they're incredible musicians, and they back me up pretty much like on everything. Like I could be deciding to change the key in a song for absolutely no reason, and you know they're able to like shift around me, and yeah, they're great. It's like a pretty high energy. I mean, I guess high energy maybe for me. Yeah, it's like a nice, it's a nice live show. It's fun because we get to really play around, and because you know there's so many of us and they're all so great, we often don't have to use like a lot of tracks. It can just like be sort of live, really live arrangements of the recorded music. So it gives it sometimes a different feel, which can be really special.
That's dope. Who's part of the band?
Well, I've got my guy Sid Juan on keys, Sid Juan Harrison. We got Jeremy John on the bass. Oh no, not on the bass. Sorry, he just played bass for me on a show recently. I'm doing so many live streams, and people have been like filling different shoes.
Oh right,
But
yeah.
Jeremy John plays bass, but he plays drums for me. And then I got Jonathan Aristide on the bass. That's who I got on bass. And then I got Kevin Ekofo on the guitar. He's sick. And then I have my own sound man because he knows how to make me sound good. And
Fundamental.
yeah,
Fundamental.
you need someone that knows like the exact kind of reverb you like and all that. And that's Jeremy. It's another Jeremy and again, dude. They're dope. I'm so grateful for them. I miss them. It sucks too, not being able to like rehearse, and it's kind of cool being creative and figuring out ways to do these sort of like virtual.
Yeah, I was thinking, are any bands doing like Zoom jams and stuff like that?
Well, like that's what I was saying too, but no, that all my band was like, no, man, because like that slight delay just messes with everyone so much. I didn't even really notice it, and then I was like, oh wait, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like once you start listening to a song, it's so off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like everyone has their own kind of ways of defining success. So I wanted to know, what does success look like to you as an artist or just as a person within the creative industry?
I think like realistically, probably success for me is being able to eat off of the stuff I make. Do you know what I mean? Like being able to do it full time and being able to like, you know, live like as comfortably as I, you know, as yeah, like I don't know, just being able to live averagely, comfortably, off doing something I love. But then I think on like a deeper level, I just want to make people feel things, or yeah, I just want to make people feel things, or and they don't need to be kind of specific things. It's kind of like each song can just sort of be like a little mood, and like yeah, I just kind of like curating this sort of like experience for people.
Dope. Well, speaking of successes, I want to jump into the EP, JOYRiDE. It's incredibly dope. I love it.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to kind of break down the process of how you put it together. So
Yeah.
initially, what was like the catalyst for the overall idea of the project?
What's sort of weird is there wasn't really a moment beforehand, like before we started creating, where we kind of like decided where we wanted to go with it and what we wanted the concept to be. Me and my two guys, Akil and Adam, we had just been creating for a while, and we didn't really we didn't really know what we were creating for. We didn't know if it was just going to be like some more singles or a project. Right. And then we just like made White Lie, and we were like, oh, we're like, this is like our anchor. And then we just kind of started building songs around White Lie, and we're like, we think we're making a project. And then funnily enough, all the songs that I was writing, actually, like once that moment happened, all the things I was sort of writing about, I realized that there was a sort of story and there was a concept. So then I started being a little bit more having more of a proper vision towards how I want to like package this thing and what I want this project to actually be. But we didn't really know what we were doing until we just made White Lie, and then we're like, okay, we think this is something.
I mean, I love, like, if we start from the top, the opening track, which is just the prelude.
Thanks.
It's almost like kind of like overhearing your inner thoughts. And it really sets the scene for the project. It's like really fast, it's exhilarating. There's loads of like unexpected turns, and you kind of get that throughout the project. What is your writing process like?
I mean, it's like a weird kind of combination of old sort of poems I have lying around, because like everyone makes fun of me because I'm always carrying like a notebook, or I'm like recording something on my phone. I'm like, wait 1 second, and I'm like saying something or singing something. So I kind of keep all those around to maybe like inspire something, or sometimes it's just good to have it around because it could really have a proper use at some point. You never know. But usually how it starts is like I got Akil and I got Adam, and they'll probably just like start playing some chords, and then I'll start like humming something, and I'll start like loosely trying to figure out what I want to sort of carve out of this music, and then it kind of goes from there. But it definitely is in like a place. It's got to be like in a place I feel comfortable. I can't really write in a studio. It's just not really my vibe. So usually,
where's your favorite place?
Honestly, just anywhere I feel comfortable. Anywhere that's like not the studio. What we've liked to do recently is just like get like an Airbnb kind of out of the city a little bit and get a little isolated and just go there and like set up and just make a bunch of songs. And that's like kind of cool because you're in like a new place, but it feels comfortable. It doesn't feel like, it's just, I think it's like a, it's got the excitement because it's not a place you're used to, but it doesn't feel like a sterile or corporate or you can kind of just chill.
Have you got a home studio?
I do. I have a little setup. Because you have to, especially now that it's
exactly
open. I was like, damn, I'm really happy that I'd invested in a few things that I did before this all hit, but I still had to go out and order in actually a bunch of stuff so that I could properly get some stuff done here. But it's interesting because I'm not a great engineer, so I'm having to challenge myself.
Are you producing yet?
Oh God, no. I would, I'd love to, but I'm lazy in the sense that if I'm around people that I know do it already amazingly and listen to me if I have ideas and stuff, I'm like, they got this. I'm gonna find something else. It's it's not the best mindset, but
which song did you have the most fun creating?
Most fun creating, I think it was either In Code, the first song, or it was Summertime. Summertime was really fun because we all just got really really weird in the sense that we kind of just like threw a bunch of stupid ideas or things that we thought seemed stupid out there. And it turned out to be really interesting. So I think it might have been Summertime, actually. It was my favorite one. Or it was, yeah, my favorite one to record. It was very fun.
So, and I know like on the EP you explore so many different sides of R&B, whether it's like gospel on Encode or more contemporary sound on White Lie. Who are some of the main players that helped you curate the sound in terms of like producers, any co-writers, engineers, that sort of thing?
Yeah, the whole project was just made with me and Akil and Adam. So
Okay.
they produced literally everything. I wrote everything, and we all like we mixed and mastered it together. Yeah, I mean they mixed and mastered. I just barked like orders, but yeah. So yeah, it was the three of us, and we did have some background singers in for Encode, and that was like really fun. But yeah, it was like it's definitely a very sort of intimate sort of project. There wasn't a lot of outside influence.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
So was it quite intentional to kind of explore those different soundscapes within the project?
I don't know if it was particularly intentional. It might have been more so on Akil's end. Like Akil knows my ear. He knows what I like. So he knows he knows what to play to get me to start getting like really excited.
Right.
Like I remember with Encode, I like he was making that beat and I was like asleep in the morning and he was like making it. I could just hear what he was playing like in my dream a little bit. And I kind of like woke up and I was like, oh my God, what is this? I love this. And I could tell he was like, yeah, I know you do. So I think for me, I think it's sort of just like all in us. Like these genres are just like kind of what we naturally go to. So I think for me, it just feels quite intuitive. But I think for Akil and Adam, it was probably more intentional for them. They were probably like, okay, I'm gonna play her some chords like this, and she's gonna love it. And yeah, it's probably like that.
And then on Summertime, there's an amazing like little breakdown section with I guess it's not a vocal sample, but who is it that's talking
at the very end?
Yeah.
That's my grandma.
Okay. What's the story behind it?
Well, okay, so my grandma is like, I love her. She's everything to me. She's this Hungarian feisty lady, and you know she escaped to Canada during the Hungarian Revolution. So she always wanted to do she wanted to act and do music, and she never really could. So I just thought it'd be really interesting to sort of bring her in on this project somehow, just because she's like a huge influence in my life anyways, and we're usually always like we hang out. Like she's one of my best friends. Chill. And she's always dropping little kind of like gems on me. So the times where I'm like, can I just start recording you? Because like she just say something sometimes. I'm like, I've always loved to sample her. We sampled her in No as well, singing a little bit. But yeah, just what she said in this particular sort of clip, I just found like really set up the next song really well, Ghosts. So yeah. Summertime's kind of like in 3 parts, and there's like that second part is just me with a weird ass effect on my voice, and then the last part I wanted to have it be like her little part and then lead into Ghosts. I also used to spend a lot of my summers with her growing up, so it was like a nice little tie-in to that.
That's dope. And I want to talk a little bit about like the visual narrative, which you've kind of wrapped around the project. How does that tie in with the tracks?
Well, I think with the whole idea of sort of like JOYRiDE, obviously there's like, you know, there's a lot of car imagery, and it kind of looks kind of old and kind of weathered and a little beat up. But also like the cars look sort of like classic in a way. So I think that was a choice I made just because the whole sort of project is about going back to a place where maybe I was and trying to just being able to control it a little bit better now, and just like sort of looking back on things that maybe were sort of struggles for me, and that you know, when I took myself out of those situations and then when I had to like come back into that space, they were still problems for me. So it's just like kind of those things that I think people just have things that they battle like throughout their lives, and this was one of those ways for me to sort of I don't know, just get over maybe a few of those things. So I think that's why like I chose like kind of like a weathered down car, because it's like an old thing, and then a kind of classic thing though as well, because I think that this is not unique to me. I think a lot of people have sort of similar experiences like this. So visually, I just wanted the project to feel kind of dirty, kind of weathered, but also feel a little like nostalgic and like something that you kind of like can't quite place a finger on, but it feels familiar. Yeah, like a lot of the visual stuff I was doing, like a lot of it looked kind of foggy, which I really liked too, because it was sort of just like, it just makes you think about memories, or, you know what I mean? It has that sort of feeling, which I think goes with the project.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just like rambling.
No, it's cool. It's good. When are we getting episode 4? Because I know there's a to be continued.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause, like, I started all this pre-COVID, and then yeah, I did have one, and I still do, but it's not quite finished, and I haven't really. Right. Yeah, it's that's a good question, but there might be an episode of like another sort, maybe not episode 4, but you know, there might be something new coming up. So,
yeah. How has the reaction just been to the project in general?
It's been really nice. It's been like, you know, surprising, and I've been really grateful to have, you know, there's been a lot of really, really cool outlets, like, you know what I mean? Obviously, like you guys, there's been some just like surprising sort of attention paid to it from, you know, some really cool people and places, and that's just been, it's been nice. It's been, it's cool. It's nice to like put out something and have some people be able to resonate with it. That's really all you ever want.
Awesome. So obviously, like, we've been in lockdown for, I guess, the whole year. Like, what have you learned about yourself? Because I assume you've had loads of time to like self-reflect.
I think a huge thing that sort of hit me was like personal relationships, and how much, I don't know, I always think I'm like I'm kind of introverted, and I don't really like, you know, I don't want to like go out to a big party. I'm just like, no, God, please, I want to stay inside. But I think especially before, you know, things opened back up a little bit and I could see people, and I really was seeing like no one, I was like, damn, like I am so anxious about social things for no reason. Like literally getting together with anyone you love is like amazing all the time. There's no reason to like, I just started questioning certain like social anxieties I have, and I was like, I don't know. Also, I think I'm listening a little bit better to people. Like when I'm asking how people are doing, I like really, really mean it. Like, which sounds really bad, but like, and I'm just listening, I think, a little bit more when I talk to people, if that makes sense. Like,
I hear you.
I think you can get so busy that you're like kind of half listening, you're sort of thinking about your own thing. But I think that when you're like forced to kind of like be isolated from everyone else, you're really like, I don't know, you're just listening on a deeper level.
Yeah. Are you usually quite a social or like socially anxious person?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I hide it pretty well. But yeah, like I don't love going out, or sometimes even the going out is fine, but then like, I don't know, the day before or the whole day leading up to it, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I just don't, for no reason, like for no real reason. But I think I think that this whole experience has at least shown me that I don't know, just that like relationships are so important. There's really no reason to overthink them or be too
it's been a good like reset button to kind of just let you same thing really. Like I'm not the type of person that likes to kind of go out or go clubbing anymore, but it's been great. Like when I actually saw my friends, I was like, oh hey guys. Yeah, I see you.
yeah, you just realize how important certain people are, and you know, it's interesting.
So how can people find your music? Where can they follow you on socials?
I'm on Instagram at, you know, Loony Moonchild. I'm on Twitter, Loony Crybaby, and then my music is, you know, on Apple Music, Spotify, all of the platforms available. I'm on YouTube as well. So yeah, it's pretty accessible, and it's all just under Loony on all those platforms, on all the listening streaming platforms.
Amazing. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I wish I was there, like in person.
I know, it would have been dope.